Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
All work and no pay.
Our beloved station manager decided we're not getting our raise this year.
What? Union sympathizer.
Fraser just said he's on our side.
I did. Heated negotiations.
Arrogant gas bag.
You intractable despot!
An offer on the table.
Those people deserve a 5% raise.
I'll give you 3.
4.
Done.
On Frasier.
Monday at 7 on Q58.
Steve, what's up, bud? We're here.
The sky.
The sky. The sky.
Roof.
The sky. So episode 144 happened in the 90s. We're here. We're proud. We made it. Another week. Steve, I don't know if you're aware of this. I don't think you have the Disney Plus app. You didn't get bilked out of your money on that one, but I did. And something that Kendra and I found that I wasn't aware of, maybe it is being publicized, but I wasn't aware of it. There's a new Goosebumps show out.
Yeah.
Justin Long's in it. That's really there's a one other lady who's kind of I've seen in stuff, but
That's the
one I
Apple
know.
guy, right?
Yeah, he was in he was in
That's what I meant.
that movie where
know
they
he-
like make a fake college too. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. I know he's in movies, but like he's always just the Apple guy to me.
I mean, and he should be proud of that. You know,
He should.
that's not a negative thing, but I get it. You know, you attach whatever you attach to. But regardless, we love Goosebumps. It's a 90s property that they're bringing back. They did do a movie that involved Jack Black at one point, and I enjoyed that. Kendra and I got to see that live and got to see Jack Black do a Q&A afterwards, which was fun. Just, humble brag there, Steve. But this show, we actually just started watching it because we were bored with what we were watching. And I got to say, as far as like doing justice to a 90s property, it's actually pretty good. And it's fairly dark for something that is on Disney Plus.
Mhm.
I was thinking it was going to be more kiddie, like more like toned to, a younger audience. Because to me, it's a child property, but it's definitely, there's a lot of like dark stuff. It involves like a kid dying and the ghost of that kid, like sort of haunting these people. And Slappy, the psycho puppet, is involved in it.
He has to be.
Yeah, of course. But there's a lot of murder and a lot of crazy stuff on it. And it's pretty intense for, I guess you could call it a kid's show. But if you ever get to see it, I know you don't have Disney Plus, but it is worth checking out. It's actually something to, and it sort of weaves in some stuff that was in those like popular Goosebump books from the 90s. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Even if I don't have Disney Plus, I have my avenues. I have my methods.
He has his ways, people.
Speaking of Disney, so I posted about a movie that came out in 97 called Angels in the Endzone. And that was a Disney movie. It was made for TV and it stands as a sequel. It's somewhat of a standalone sequel to Angels in the Outfield because Christopher Lloyd, he is the common denominator. He was in Angels in the Outfield and he's in this one. When posted on Facebook, there were a lot of people who thought that this was a fever dream, that this was another Mandela effect. It's like that Sinbad movie people talk about, and it's like, dude, it totally was a thing. I'm just using this space to say that to the people. If you're watching in the Facebook Zuckerberg meta universe,
I'm not
it was a
surprised
thing.
it is a real thing. I just didn't remember it.
Yeah, like it is. I think because it was made for TV, and
Yeah.
before I said it was a month-long deal. I think this was like a constant on Sundays on ABC where they would do some kind of Disney deal for like an hour, 2 hours, and they would release these made-for-TV movies, and that was one of them.
I mean, I loved Angels in the Outfield. So if it's that with football, that seems like a win to me. And you get Christopher Lloyd in it. That's cool.
And Matthew Lawrence, he stars in it. He's the like down on his luck football player, and I think his brother died or something like that, and the team sucks. So he's got a lot on his shoulders. So you get some of that Lawrence brother drip. Hashtag whoa.
Do you get "It Can Happen"? Like, is that tagline? Because I feel like that was like the general tagline for that movie. So, is there like a cute kid that's like, "It can happen"?
And yeah, because Christopher Lloyd gets into his life, put some drip into his life, and then now the team like they're taking off.
Danny Glover's in it. Is Danny in it? Is he? Does
Now
he?
he was now he was too old for that shit at this point.
That's funny. Well, I mean, that's crazy though. So that's cool. I didn't know they continued that property. I didn't know Angels continued to help sports athletes, but I'm down, Steve. And I didn't think it was made up. And shame on anyone who accused you of that, Steve. Steve is nothing more. If nothing else, he's an honest man.
Yeah, I might fuck up on this
Hanson
show.
is all goddamn hell, but
I try.
honest too.
Yeah, man. Before I hit that post button, I try to double check and do my fact checks. So when people call me out on my bullshit or try to, I feel a certain way, man.
They can't hurt you anymore, Steve. It's okay. It's okay.
This is my safe space.
Emmett needs a fly pass.
Somebody get me a big towel and I'll burp him.
But inside the ER, anything can happen.
She's not allowed in the operating room.
You gotta quit holding the hairdryer so close to your head.
On the next brace.
Tuesday at 5:30 on Q58.
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your dog fathers and your dog muds, because nowadays everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move the lips. It's a bunch of gibberish. Motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. Nowadays everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move the lips. It's a bunch of gibberish. Motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. So what do you say to somebody you hate? Or any beach? I thought I was going to get through it. Y'all get the gist. Shout out to Slim.
He's out there, Steve. So many white boys just killed those lines back in the day when that came out, because that was our opportunity to just really just flow, Steve.
Oh, and I know some who took that opportunity and flourished.
I mean,
Get your suburban sea walk on.
Doherty was at least getting through a good third of that. Anything, an Eminem, he was a feminem for that guy, Steve. It's why I really don't, I'm not going to say I don't like him, but why I don't listen to Eminem a lot, because it's almost was used to torture me, Steve. You can't.
I think he figured it out. Yeah, because y'all were pretty vocal about it. It wasn't just you. I think Jordan and Jordan loves Eminem. Like other people have said, like, dude, we get it. You want to suck his dick.
We showed him Eminem, Steve. That's the thing. Like we opened him up to more Eminem, and
we made you.
We created the monster that was the Doherty, Steve. It just, and you do that. I do that with songs. I overplay the fuck out of like a hit that I hear, like some one song. I'll do that from time to time, personally. But this guy, it was like he was trying to like increase Eminem's like listening numbers like exponentially just himself. And he did.
If Spotify existed then, like he would have made him platinum by himself.
If Eminem would have been like, why is there this one area in Northwest Ohio? It's like a fucking earthquake.
Hey, man, you only get one shot. One shot, man.
Spaghetti.
Well, today, my friend, we're talking about all things November 16th in the 90s, you filthy animal. Starting off in 1990, Home Alone premieres. An 8-year-old troublemaker mistakenly left home alone must defend his home against a pair of burglars on Christmas Eve. Directed by Chris Columbus, starring Macaulay Culkin, the GOAT, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurd, Roberts Blossom, Catherine O'Hara, Devin Ratray, and John Candy.
I'm up here. I'm really scared. Fucking dude. How big was this? This was
Mega
everything,
huge.
dude. This I for how much? I mean, I still watch this fucking movie.
It's a tradition at this point, and it never gets old, man. This is to me the goat of Christmas movies. It has the goat of child actors, and I've said this before about Macaulay being the goat of child actors. There was this guy named Gary Coleman, and I think it's because he was before our time. But Gary Coleman might be 1B because he was a huge deal, man. He was a breakout star on other sitcoms before he even starred on Different Strokes, and he had his own cartoon. But this guy also had his own cartoon. He stars in the biggest Christmas movie, in my opinion, ever. Like, ever. You're never going to beat this. And then he backed that up with My Girl. He was in The Good Son, Richie Rich, and he hosted SNL. Sorry, Gary, loved you, man. R.I.P. But you never hosted SNL. That would have been great if you did.
Just knocking it out of one after Home Alone 1, 2, My Girl, Rich. I mean, these are all gigantic hits.
Huge.
Fucking Macaulay, dude. And this one though, it just took over. I remember watching this in the theater. Everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. Parents, I mean, kids, my parents loved this. And it just became this huge fucking thing. Excuse my language.
And would you believe that Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, they didn't even think this was going to be a massive hit. So like they were overacting in their parts. They were just going over the top. Like it was just blowing. They were blowing it up like, I'm about to do some old outlandish shit. Whatever. It's just going to be straight to TV anyways. Lo and behold, here we are, man.
Shit
doing numbers.
It's like a fucking Looney Tunes with human beings at certain points. And this movie's been replicated many times. They've made so many sequels of this goddamn movie. It's insane. But this one especially, I love the second one too. I love them both. But
same.
Yeah, man. This one even has some fucking some other people of note, like Big Pete from Pete and Pete's in it. He's one of the brothers or one of the family.
That he is.
Buzz is in it. Buzz's girlfriend. Ugh.
Devin Rattray, and I don't know if do you want to get into that?
What's that?
Oh, like he's gotten into some legal troubles, man. Like he was actually Devin Rattray. Yeah, like he was beating up his girlfriend. He was holding her against her will in a hotel room, and he was arrested for assault. And man. This was in the last couple years, man.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say he was in some shit recently. I was like, damn, he made it out of that and then back into Hollywood. Fuck, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but Buzz was a fucking dickhead anyway. So
he was.
Shame on him.
True to life. And Buzz was actually voted the second greatest movie bully of all time by Entertainment Weekly, which says a lot. There's been a lot of goated bullies, especially if you look in the 80s. Like it's full of bully movies.
But I mean,
he was good.
That's his only purpose to serve in this movie at all, except at the end when he's like, you know what, Kevin, you're not such a turd. You know, you get that at the end because he gets a bunch of presents and stuff. But we didn't go there for that fat fuck anyways, Steve. We went there for Macaulay just putting the screws to two adults, which I love. I love when he goes shopping too. Those scenes.
When he goes and gets the the army men. This dude has a whole regime. He had a whole map. He literally had a map drawn out for all of this in a matter of minutes. It's like, okay, I got these guys staking out my house.
Did you ever do that as a kid, make schematics because I tried to do this too, a little bit, make little fun drawings of plans.
For your parents, they send me to my room. I'm gonna call them up here one time, and I'm gonna have a paint can hit them against
the. Here's where the fire extinguisher is gonna shoot in their face.
That's how naive I was. And around this time, the Gulf War was happening, and I was like, dude, this is how a child's mind is. Dude, let's just send Hulk Hogan and Kevin McAllister over there, dude. He's got it all figured out. He'll just have paint cans flying into their face. He'll distract them, and Hogan will give him a leg drop. And then Randy can just come off the top rope.
I mean, if nothing else, get this guy into whatever Mission Impossible organization that we actually have, because he can do anything. He can manipulate anyone, Steve. Give him a talk boy, he'll get a suite at the greatest hotel in the world. Fully booked. Credit card. You got it. I mean, he can do it, talk his way into anything. So, but this movie, Christopher Columbus, also, I got to point out, I think he actually directed
Yeah.
the first Harry Potter movie. He's a
Yeah.
prolific director, but yeah, dude, this movie, the score, the everything, the pizza looked delicious. I gotta say, as like a fat foodie, the food in it looks delicious. I've eaten a lot of pizza watching this movie, and I love it, Steve. You're right. It is the
No.
best. I used to say Christmas Story because it was like such a big thing in my life and my like a big tradition for my family back in the day, but this is cemented. You really can't even argue it at this point.
And the only way you're going to get some is if it's all barfed up.
You're
And
what the
I
French
also,
call les compétents, Steve.
I fucking hate Uncle Frank. He's a piece of shit. Look at what you did, you little jerk.
He is. I mean, dude. Even when at the like the second one, when he gets the like the audio of him like, "Get out of here, you little pervert! I'm gonna slap you." Like, who says this to some kid? You're in a family vacation setting and somebody walks into a bathroom and you're going that ham. This guy's a prick, and you're right. This guy, honestly, also they need to like just cut him out of the life because they're paying for this man to go to France, to goddamn
Yeah.
Florida, and he's always just being shitty to their kids. I mean, what the fuck, Uncle Frank?
Couldn't even foot the bill on the pizza. And I also want to call attention to Kieran Culkin, Macaulay's real life brother. He plays Fuller, and that's who Kevin had to sleep with. Man, just make sure he didn't drink enough Coke or what was it, Dr. Pepper, whatever.
I like how he's like doing it vindictively too, where he's like sipping it, like, "Hey, Kevin, like, you're gonna be swimming in piss tonight." Dude.
But man, if you think about all the possibilities of people who could have had these roles, it would have been a completely different movie. Joe Pesci wasn't even the first choice for Harry. Other people were considered were Robert De Niro, John Lovitz, Christopher Lloyd, Bob Hoskins, Dudley Moore, Phil Collins, Danny DeVito, Kevin Pollak, Rowan Atkinson, Michael Biehn, James Caan, Kevin Kline, Tommy Lee Jones, Ray Romano, Jack Nicholson, John Stamos, Brad Garrett, Gene Hackman, Kurt Russell. Like,
Damn. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but when you watch this and it's like nothing would work this good.
yeah,
I'd love to see all that. Every one of those people you said, I would love to see a version of that, but this is just perfect, dude. Daniel Stern, when he screams, when he gets that tarantula put on his face, his scream is comedic gold. Because in the second one, they use it again when he gets shocked off the sink and he turns into like
yeah.
the skeleton. It makes me belly laugh like to where I can't breathe every time I watch it.
Casting is perfection, man. Like those guys, and I guess they have chemistry from a movie they did in the 80s prior. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, man. I can't call the movie off the top of my head, but they were going to go with another guy because Stern wanted more, and they were like, nah, we're not going to do that. So the other guy they picked, you might have seen him before. He played Jay Leno in that Late Shift made for TV movie. He's got the chin.
Yeah.
It was that guy. And then the producers was like, nah, this guy ain't gonna work. Let's bring back Stern and like see about his demands and let's make that work.
Thank
So I'm
God,
glad.
dude. They
Thank
all made
God.
money. They made all the money back and then some. So, yeah, but this was so huge. This is one of those movies that blew up astronomically. It was everybody worldwide, you know?
Macaulay blew up off this, man. He showed up in the black and white movie or that video with Michael Jackson. It got him that cartoon. It, like I said, got him on SNL as a child host, which you could probably count with one hand how many times it's happened in the history of a 45 season show. I watched this in the theater when it came out on Showtime, HBO. I watched it and rewatched it, man, and still to this day, it doesn't get old. Um, Pop culture references, like the Talk Boy, which that was the second one, but like this just had an impact on pop culture, man. But also in 1990, The Rescuers Down Under premieres. RAS agents Miss Bianca and Bernard race to Australia to save a little boy and a rare golden eagle from a murderous poacher. Directed by Hindle Butoy and Mike Gabriel, starring Bob Newhart, Eva Gabor, John Candy, Adam Ryan, George C. Scott, and Tristan Rogers. So John Candy with 2 releases in the same day.
And this is kind of an unsung. This is a Disney movie, right?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think this is sort of, it's not forgotten, but I love this as a kid. It's got a great animation and like the visuals of this kid like riding on the back of this giant eagle. It looks super cool. You know, it's not the Rescue Rangers, it's not those, but it's like along the same lines, right?
It's somewhat, man. And I think it's because it doesn't have that commercial appeal as far as like selling merchandise. Because this is around the time Aladdin's coming out, Little Mermaid is out, so like all of the possibilities of having a video game and having dolls, like these were rats. Like, how can you cosplay that? How can we like stand apart from the rest? You know what I mean? Like this was actually the first animated Disney movie of the 90s. And ironically, the previous movie, the original Rescuers, that was the last movie of the 70s, the last animated Disney movie of the 70s.
I mean, but this is it's an enjoyable movie. It's if the villains in it are kind of like poacher guys, if I'm not mistaken, like Australians. Yeah. They're almost like along the same lines as like the poachers in Ace Ventura, the second one, like those like grimy, slimy dudes. But it gets kind of intense. Like it's just kind of a crazy. It's not. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's just got kind of. They're like shooting at the bird and stuff, and it's kind of about like environmentalism a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember everything about it, but I own this. It's good, and I just don't think people really know about it.
I think the fact that it was in opposition with Home Alone, released on the same day, so you pay the price for that. That's and tough. I mean, you're in opposition with your other animated counterparts. Like I said before, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King, that whole list that came out, the early 90s every summer, man. But as a standalone, let's say it wasn't Disney, it's still a solid movie nonetheless. But also in 1990, Rocky V premieres. Rocky may be down due to money and injury, but he's not out when it comes to facing off against his former protege. Directed by John G. Avildsen, starring Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Burt Young, Sage Stallone, Tommy Morrison, and Burgess Meredith. Yo, you little bum.
Touch me and I'll sue. This is not a widely loved movie. The street fight at the end is not great. What's his name in it? Peter Guns?
Tommy Guns. Peter Guns is a rapper.
Tommy Guns. It's, but it's fun. I mean, it's funny as fuck. And Sage Stallone, there's some tragedy there. And if I'm not mistaken, it's basically the whole movie. He's just like sort of jealous that Tommy Guns is sort of getting the attention that he wants from his father. Yeah. Then hit Rocky and Tommy Guns get in a street fight. There's a guy who's like a promoter that's hilarious. He's like Don King.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. He's inspired by Don King. And
Touch me his son. I'll sue you, motherfucker.
How much? What did he say? Like, what are you going to sue me for?
Cut. Great. That's a good one, Sly. Yeah,
it's fantastic.
This isn't as good. 3 and 4 are my personal favorite Rocky movies. This is funny. I remember it being funny, and that's it. This is like not, it's kind of depressing. He's like down on his luck. It's Rocky's back. He's like poor again. He's
Got
fucking
like
teaching this chud.
CTS. Yeah.
And this guy also had some like fuck. Didn't he? The guy who plays Tommy Guns is dead. Correct.
Tommy Morrison, yeah, he got AIDS.
There we go. You said that so casual. I mean, you're right, but it's just the way you it's very casual. He said, "Oh yeah, Tommy Morrison. Yeah, he got AIDS."
How would you like me to say
Turn
it?
the
You got AIDS.
page. Tommy. He had some drug problems and stuff too. He had like a really troubled life after this.
Yeah. But I think he saw some fame and notoriety in the boxing world, man. He might have grabbed a title, maybe or two.
Yeah, but I think he got his ass. I think he famously got his ass whooped by somebody. I can't remember, but yeah, he was like sort of a troubled dude. But he looked badass in this, but he got taken to the fucking limit by Rocky in these fucking Philly streets, Steve.
Hey Tommy, one more round. One more round. But you know, somebody who probably didn't watch Rocky V or Home Alone in 1990 is probably pop group Milli Vanilli, because they are stripped of their Grammy Award because the duo did not sing at all on the Girl You Know It's True album.
Ooh, 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 I didn't sing this. Yeah, shame on them. Shame on Millie and Vanilli, but I mean, look at the look.
Pulled the veil over our eyes, man. I bought it. Well, my mom bought it.
I'm still buying it, Steve. I'll still listen to it. Slamming. Who sang it?
It was the session musician, the
Oh.
musicians. Yeah.
So what the fuck did they do? Just get their hair braided?
Basically, you guys have a look. Let's put you in the forefront, and then these guys will just play the music because they're all ugly. That's basically what happened.
These
But,
fucking
in-
uggos sang this golden song, but we need somebody that we can put like the voice to it. Oh my god, look at those two guys, color coded
Oh, God.
braids.
The Janet Jackson, Bo Derek braids. I love it. This, you know what? Let's put this music in the backtrack and let's see if y'all can lip sync to it. We got it. Jeez.
You sexy sons of bitches, you did it.
See. So
Hey, they I mean, they made some money, right, Steve? Like something. They didn't just get humiliated because that's basically what they became, right? Just a joke. So,
yeah.
are they still? Is Millie or Vanilli still with us? Did they last?
One of them is still alive. One of them died in the 90s. It's the guy with the glasses died in the 90s. The other guy's still with us.
I don't know which is which, but rest in peace to Millie or Vanilli.
Yeah, man. R.I.P. man. For what it's worth, like y'all did y'all's thing, and y'all have a space in this history of I don't know.
I mean, and they also I mean, we still remember Millie and Vanilli, Steve. Like, regardless of the tragedy or the like whatever controversy there was, I'll never forget them. Those two angels on your shoulder behind you.
There you go.
Steve, you know it's true.
But in 1993, Queen Latifah releases Black Rain, and I remember my mom bought this, and like this is an actual great hip hop album, man. This is around the time she started living single and cementing herself as an icon. This is the one with UNIT, wine as a unity. I'm not a bitch or a hoe. Here we go.
I mean, I'll always respect Queen Latifah, if nothing else, because she was a badass in Juice and commanded so much respect in that from me.
Juice or Set It Off? I mean, she was in Juice, but
she was in Juice. She was like the lady that was like the controlling the contest. She was
that's right.
She had some authority in that, but also Set It Off. Yeah, that too. But Unity, Steve, I know about that. That's a classic.
Just another day living in the hood, just another day around the way, feeling good today. Yeah.
She's still killing it, but man, the early '90s, Queen Latifah was just nailing it, and then Living Single comes out. Hmm. What was her name in that?
Let me see. She was Khadijah.
All right.
This boss lady. But man, like I don't think she's too far from getting that EGOT, man. I believe she got a Grammy for something. She's got the Oscar from Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. So hey man, salute to Dana Owens. You're the only queen that I will recognize. But also in 1993, somebody who probably didn't listen to that. You want to know? You want to know? You want to know, Matt?
Who?
Probably American comedian and actor, the Roman Reigns of comedy, Pete fucking Davidson. I just don't get it. I don't get it because he was born on that day.
I don't care, Steve.
So
Pete
here's the new.
Davidson.
So this new celebrity girlfriend of mine. That's my thing. Huh.
I mean, I enjoy some Pete Davidson stuff, but the level of success the man's getting it's crazy, and it seems to be related to him dicking down these chicks.
Yeah.
Which even to me, hating on that seems like shitty because that's cool as fuck. Honestly, I
It's
respect
actually
that.
cool.
It's super.
I
cool.
respect it. It's just I think I would respect it if it was somebody who was funny. That's I think, yeah, I'm a hater. I'll wear that
Okay.
hat because it's like, dude, all right. He's got a big dong. All right. So do I.
I mean, there you go. Pull him out when you're next to Pete Davidson and just go dick to dick so you even see where you stack up.
Pause. But in 1994, Essence of Emerald debuts on the Food Network. Damn, that's your boy.
Bam. As
at
a
them
kid,
eyebrows.
Steve, I used to love cooking shows. I don't even know why. And it
You still
became a
do.
thing for me. Yeah. Again, like I fell off a little bit. But this show was one of the first shows I fell in love with from Food Network. This used to be basically the only type of show Food Network had. And now it's insane. It's like cooking contests and diners, drive-ins, and dives, and Guy Fieri everything. And I love all that too. But this is one of the first dudes that was like famous for cooking. Him, Wolfgang
Yeah.
Puck. But love me some Emerald, dude. I mean, this guy also got like he flipped this into hella fame. Because if you don't
Yeah.
remember, I think he even had a daytime talk show.
Dude, he was everywhere. He was the OG, like you said, man. It's kind of like how CNN was with Larry King. I felt like that was the first guy I associated with the network. Like
Yeah.
Emerald Lagasse, he was before Guy Fieri. He was the OG, triple OG. So like over time, as Food Network continued being a thing, when I thought of Food Network, I thought of Emerald Lagasse. Bam.
Yeah. I mean, he was the first. He walked so all these other people could run. You know,
Basically.
he got Food Network some shine so it could continue, and now it's like, I mean, Jesus, it's astronomical. Like, and I'm eating it all up. I love fucking Food Network. I love cooking shows. It's how I learned to cook. And if you just want to like have background noise, I love like having stuff that you can just like not pay attention to. And a nice diners, drive-ins, and dives. As much as people want to throw hatred at Mr. Fieri, I call him Mr. Fieri because I respect the guy that much. But it's fantastic. And then you look up, you're like, oh damn, I want to eat that burger with cheese coming out the middle of it or whatever it is. You know.
Food porn.
Love it. I love it. So shout out Emerald Lagasse. Throw it. Bam.
Before there was a Salt Bay. But in 1995, November 17th or the 16th, New York Undercover is airing the finals. Danny Cort returns and wants Detective Williams fired and the officer's son killed. Man, this guy is ruthless.
This guy does not give any fucks. He's a cop killer, Steve. He really is.
After
And
I pop your father.
this is another guy the CIA needs to hire because he knows how to break a human being down piece by piece in the most sadistic of ways. Mental, complete manipulation and just complete violence too. Danny Cort, one of To me, I'm saying it. You know, you can say Marlowe from The Wire, but I think '90s TV gangsters. This guy might be number one because he's willing to do anything, Steve.
Easily. And the fact that I remember him despite not even being a cast member, I think he only had a 3 episode arc on the show in the early seasons too, man. But like this performance, this like I was convinced that this man can act because he was ruthless in this, man. And I'll have to agree, probably like the biggest villain in TV shows of at least, or at least cameos of a TV show.
Yeah, and this dude is, I mean, a super thug, if nothing else. I mean, I know he's got some style too. He's got some pimp style. It's got that iced tea like pimp flair that I love to see. He doesn't give a fuck. But you know, we open this scene or this show up, and we've covered New York Undercover a couple times now. We talked about shows that surprise us or that like I didn't watch. This is one of them. This show's great. This arc of this Danny Cort character is amazing. But the show in general, if you like cop shows or like shows like I would say The Wire, you would love this. And this show kind of has like a Wire opening. It's just like showing drugs getting dealt, Steve, to some cool music, people doing handoffs. And then this really like suave looking white dude he buys a little crack in the hood, which I love. He looked like he's, you know, like doing some stock tips or whatever. Needs a little fucking something to get the edge off.
Yeah. Get his something to, trim his ponytail or something, looking for the nearest barber on the way. But yeah, man, making some transactions. And Ice-T, he comes up from behind, man, pulls up out of a rape van and basically does a jack move, acting like he's gonna like wash the dude's windshield. And as they exchange, the man gives us some change, and he just like pulls out the gat and starts blasting.
I mean, what did this white man do, Danny? And also, Steve, he doesn't just stop there. This motherfucker has a smile on his face and just cuts a digit off. He cuts this man's finger off, Steve. And I don't know what's going on at this point.
Yeah, the middle finger at that.
Yeah. This is going to come into play later, Steve. So Danny Cort's seemingly a sadistic killer. If you want to fill people in, Steve, this man's responsible for murdering Detective JC's wife,
his fiance. They were soon to be married. So he murdered JC's fiance while JC was at the apartment. And not only that, JC in response kills Danny Cort's brother, because Danny Cort's brother, he gets involved in the drug game, and going on one of those like shootouts, he ultimately it's killed. And Danny Cort, he goes back into jail after almost killing JC and comes out. And that's the thing I don't understand. I don't know how this man is continuing to get out when he's dealing directly with police officers and trying to kill them. And he killed the officer's fiance with the officer there. And like I get it though. This is fiction, maybe loosely based on nonfiction.
I mean, somebody get this guy a parole officer to follow him around at least for a time, because he seems to like literally get out of jail and then go into a car and be like, yo, go shoot this guy so I can cut his finger off real quick. He's right back into the lifestyle, Steve.
Right back with the shits, man. But
he's a super thug. That's what it is. Like, he can't help it,
All's not well in his world, like with most gangsters, because we see Danny Cort trying to talk to his mom. She's on her way back home. She's got her groceries in her hand, and he's like, "Hey, mom, I'm back." Hey, she's got nothing to say. She was just like, "Well," but she does have 5 against the lips. Word to Fred Sanford.
It's a very Scarface. If you remember in Scarface, when he goes to visit his mom and give her some money and stuff. She knows she's got a little devil on her hands. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him. So Danny's down a brother who he loved to death, literally. His mom hates his guts. I mean, he lost some territory when he was in the pen, apparently. And you're right. Like, and he wants. I mean, honestly, Steve, he's got it out for JC.
That's his main vendetta.
This is a Joker Batman situation going on here, Steve. For reals.
And meanwhile, Nina Moreno, she wants to find her daughter. Apparently, she had a daughter when she was 16, and her mom, who's also a police officer, forced her to put the baby up for adoption because she didn't want her daughter messing up her life at that young of an age. And this is the first time I think they're even revealing this, but she wants her mom's help because she wants to find that daughter. She's about to turn 10 years old. She kept track of the timeline, and she just wants to be around her just to see what she's like, how she's living her life.
Yeah, and it's busting her up inside, Steve. But her mom's really not into helping her at all. She's the kind. I think she doesn't even agree to do anything that Moreno asks her to do. She just sort of is like, "Nah, see you later. It was nice talking to you."
Yeah, I holla at
Um,
you.
Moreno also gets given the job of locating, or at least like looking into the blue van, like the rape van that you said Danny Cort was in when he shot up and chopped up Rico Suave, the crack guy. So she's doing that. Eddie and JC are, they're doing their detecting thing. And I don't know, Steve. There's just a lot of like weird drama going on internally here. JC or Eddie and fucking Moreno, or are they together now? Because I know that was
They've
sort of a
been
thing.
they've been seeing each other, but they haven't really made it public. They haven't made it Facebook official yet. And the thing is, they don't want people in their mess. It's just like if you mess with somebody at work, it's a general understanding for at least the first couple weeks, maybe first couple months. Like, yeah, let's wait until we're ready.
Oh, it's like
And it's kind
Andy
of
in the office. Like, I don't want the drama.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where they are.
Okay.
And
All right.
meanwhile, like while they're scoping out the place, Danny Cort and his henchman Tiny, they're not too far around because they're just scoping out the place or staking out all of this investigation, and Danny's just playing a chess game with these motherfuckers, a puppet master. I told you these officers are so predictable. Back at the precinct, we see Naomi Campbell with her fine mocha ass just sitting there waiting on JC because they have a thing now. She was supposed to be, I guess, a rebound from JC's fiance, and that's not a bad rebound to have. And she's just sitting there in a fur coat and nothing else. It's like, hey, JC, I just came to pay you a visit. And JC's like, well, let me put your coat away. It's like, no, you don't want the boys seeing me naked, do you?
I mean, honestly, I kind of do just so they see what I get to go home with. But this is crazy, Steve. JC's
Yeah.
working with this. I mean, sorry to his other wife, this baby's mama, Shanice, I believe.
Yeah.
But this is a complete upgrade. This is insane. I would be just putty in this woman's fucking hands constantly. And this is so hot, Steve. This is a dream come true. Whatever tragedy JC's had in his life, you made it here, bud. I feel like
It's
if this is a plateau, this is a great plateau.
or so we think. But
Yeah.
as they're heading back to JC's chateau, another guy. There's another guy from a previous episode that comes in, and he's a former drug dealer, probably a current drug dealer, and he's played by Steve Harris, who was Wood Harris's older brother in real life. Wood Harris, famous from The Wire, but Steve Harris, he's also an actor, and he's been in other stuff in the '90s. But anyways, he thinks that JC's been calling his home, leaving fucked up threats on his answering machine. And JC's kind of caught off guard, like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about, but you coming into my yard and you bringing that heat here. Like, hey, if you want to do this, we can do this, but I'm gonna need you to chill out. So Steve Woods just storms off, like, man, whatever, man, fuck you.
You've been leaving all these crazy messages in that scream voice. You like scary movies, Ellis?
Yeah,
What's your favorite scary movie? Yeah, and everyone's like, yo, what the fuck's going on? Because, like, what are you, JC? You prank calling this guy now? What the fuck's going
hey,
on here, dude?
you
Little
jerky
do
boy
they
and shit.
know, Steve. Fucking Danny Cort's got a fucking, he's star 67 in Ellis. Fucking leaving fucked up messages in JC's voice. He's a master of fucking puppetry, Steve.
Hey, this is JC. I got a message for you. I'm coming for you, and I want to arrest you again. But and I hate calling him Steve Wood, Steve Harris. That's his real name, and I can't remember his character's name. But he
It's
on his way
Ellis,
from
just so you
it's
know.
Ellis.
Sorry. Yep.
All right, thank you for giving me that name. So as Ellis is leaving the precinct, he gets mollywopped and just brutalized by Danny Cort and crew, and eventually gets killed. And once again, Danny Cort, he needs a piece of merchandise. He needs something to take away from this savagery. So he takes the middle finger from Ellis.
I mean, damn though, this motherfucker is committed. And also, he's setting up like some weird, like somebody's gonna examine this shit and be like, "There's a serial killer out there." Everyone's middle. He's giving us the middle finger every time he kills somebody. Ooh, but
It's like 7.
Ellis is dead now. We don't really know that immediately, but we do find that out. So, we cut away from Ellis just getting his ass whooped and his finger cut off to JC in heaven, Steve. In literal heaven. He's waking up in bed. Not waking up. He's, post nut with Naomi Campbell in bed. God bless. God bless, JC. And she's, this woman seems magical. She's serving up pussy at lunch. She's getting a kind of life do cops lead, Steve. They can go take a lunch and go get some pussy like this.
Man, it's a tough life, NYPD, man.
I guess. But is this where she brings up the fact that she's curious that, or like, she seems kind of like, she's like, I think your partner has a drug problem.
Yeah, she came to be a messy broad, basically. And she asked him for confirmation. So that way she can go along and say to Eddie that, hey, JC, he told me about it. And then like, Danny, this is all his work behind the scenes, man. And so he's like, that don't worry about that. That's his problem, blah, blah, blah. So he goes on to back to work. And as he's driving, he looks in his back seat and there's a dead Ellis.
Oh, you didn't look in the back. I love these shows where it's like you get in the car and don't look in the back seat. There's a big ass dead dude in your back of your car. But I mean, what are you to do here, Steve? This man came into the precinct yelling at you, then he's dead in your car. And how does he immediately not go, yo, does anyone know where Danny Cort's at? Because I feel like that's the only person I could think of that would do some shit like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't. There could only be, hopefully in his life, a couple people that would do this level of chicanery, Steve.
Well, eventually they'll get to it because when he gets back to the precinct, we see another familiar face, Miss Edie Falco, who would later be Miss Soprano. She is Sergeant Kelly. She oversees this shit. And, Sarge is putting Williams on modified assignments. And they bring up Danny Cort. He's actually brought into the conversation. And, Sergeant Kelly, she says that, like, I thought he was in jail. He just got released. So...
How? Also, I think at this point they say they found JC's prints on a beer bottle or something like that killed him or something related. He's got prints out here too. So Danny Cort's doing everything possible to just set this motherfucker up. He's doing a pretty fucking good job, I gotta say, Steve.
He even knows where JC's baby mama works. Nurses Referral Agency. Man, they make this way too easy.
You have the best iced tea, dude. I love it.
So he pulls up on G now. G's just getting out of school. And Danny pulls up on him. He's like, hey, I'm a friend of your father's. And G is just like, man, I don't know you, dude, with the perm, like with the sunglasses. What the hell? And he's like, man, get your ass over here. So he grabs him. He like grabs the man, the boy's wrist, and like, hey, give this to your father. And it's like in a little ring box. And he doesn't open it. And shortly after Danny pulls off, I guess JC, he's got short-sighted vision because he doesn't see a dead man in his back seat until after he pulls off. And he doesn't see this man grabbing onto his son just seconds.
Where were you? Was it around the corner or some shit?
just seconds before he pulls up. Like there's like you didn't see that happen, but
What's wrong,
hey,
G? What's wrong, man?
yeah.
Man, this weird dude just gave me a present for you and said I needed to give it to you. And you know what it is, Steve? It's not a ring. It's in ring box, but it ain't a ring. It's two middle fingers. God damn it, this motherfucker.
Yeah,
Also,
two of Stone Cold's
I
best
did
tools.
like how Danny was like, he said that shit. He's like, "Yo, I'm a friend of your father's," and the kid's like, "No, you're not. I don't know who you are." And he's like, "Smart kid, you're smart for not trusting me." And then he does that. But also, where's the teachers and shit? There's no authorities outside. This is the '90s. They didn't care about kids like that.
No safety guards. What were those people
Uh,
called?
Crossing guards. I mean, nobody.
Crossing guard.
Fuck. There's not even like an assistant principal out there, but message given. Danny got his present. He's still 5 steps ahead of JC, Steve.
Yeah. And now JC, he's furious after finding out what happened with G. He goes to this storefront that I'm guessing Danny operates from, and the guy that works at the counter, he's just like, "Hey man, I want the scoop on Danny Cort. I'm coming after that motherfucker. Oh, you don't know where he's at? Well, next time you see him, tell him this, that, and the third. I'm coming for him." And like, unbeknownst to him, the store manager was recording all of that shit.
And he does a really fun, like, motherfucker, like, dramatic hold up right before they cut to commercial. I love that.
With this devious look.
Speaking of talk boys, Steve, this motherfucker had a talk boy.
Yeah.
Kevin McAllister would be proud. So again, here's another machination in Danny Cort's fucking screw over JC machine. He's got it all planned out. Even fucking tape recordings. This motherfucker's a killer and a fucking genius. But
2
then
steps ahead.
Naomi Campbell shows up to Eddie's. And I was like, damn, is she just going to try to fuck this dude? Is that how this is going to go down? But no. She tells him some, like, she just, like, does tell him that she's suspicious of him being addicted to drugs. Pulls some shit out from him where he actually admits to it. I guess he is addicted to drugs or was.
Yeah.
And basically he just gets mad and asks her to leave. That's it. They just have a little disagreement, Steve.
They have a disagreement, but he's also furious now at JC because he's thinking that JC is out here telling his business. It's like, well, how did JC tell you about my addiction? It's like, and she's like, kind of sweeps over that, like, yeah, but like, I'm actually concerned about you, Eddie. Like, you need to do something about this. Like, you're not using now, are you? And so, like you said, he kicks her out, and on her way out, Danny gives her that one hitter quitter. And
I mean, damn,
hey,
he catches her
Thamone.
cold, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, Thamone.
Ah.
Yeah. And Simone, she shows up at JC's place with a shiner, and she says that Eddie Torres did it. So now JC's feeling a certain way about Eddie.
And also, like, this would be mind blowing. I'd be like, wait, he beat your ass?
Like, how?
Yeah, like, what the fuck? But she also blows up fucking JC's spot because JC's having a family dinner with his ex. And now his ex is meeting his sex, and that's never a good situation. And she's rocking a shiner, fucking up the meal. And, I mean, this is crazy. I thought, like I said, I thought she was gonna fuck Eddie, not fake assault. Which she's got a shiner. She's got a fucking like Red and Friday level shiner, Steve.
Oh, she fucked him. Probably not literally, but now JC he heads over to Torres's spot and he's furious. Like, dude, you put your hands on Simone. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? She said that like she left your place, she pissed you off or whatever, and like she came to my place and she's got this eggplant popping out of her eyelid. Like, yeah, dude, she was over, but like, and I was getting pissed. I kicked her out, but I didn't put my hands on her. Like, how long have you known me and how long have you known her? And you're gonna take her word, dude? She probably is a basehead.
But JC's like, dude, do you see that, man? What can I do? What can I do, man? And you know, at this point, still, I'd believe her because like you can't go away from that, Steve. You just can't give up the dream like that quick. But they're in the midst of this, and then they get a call from the precinct that they got a visitor. Dun dun dun. Cut to the fucking precinct, Steve. Who's there? It's not somebody's fucking. It's not anybody you'd expect. It's fucking Danny Cort, Steve.
Yeah, a guy who just killed 2 people. Like after he got released from prison freshly.
And
Like
he's playing like this, Steve. I don't know what you're talking about, officer. He's calling him officer. He's all the respect in the world, Steve. He's an innocent man.
I just say no to violence.
But they get into it. They start talking shit, but eventually JC basically is like, "Yeah, your fucking little bitch ass brother's dead. Fuck you." He goes, he takes it full hard, which I wouldn't do, because this motherfucker's out for blood. But this man has balls of steel. He's committing murders. He's gonna commit more murders, and he's fucking with a cop as a legit felon and predicate felon at this point, I have assumed. So, but as we're gonna find out, Steve, Danny Cort, how many fucks does he give? None at all.
Not one. And shout out to Al Green. This is the episode's performer. He's playing Love and Happiness when you want to do right. Love some Al Green.
I love this cool club that they go to that just has fucking legends just crooning. Like, is this a cop bar, Steve?
I mean, it's the hangout in NY. But now Chantel, I think we glossed over this, man. She's supposed to stay at JC's for protection. JC doesn't want Chantel and G going back to their own place. He wants them staying with him at his apartment. And this time they're having an argument whether or not she should go out to work. It's like, hey, like, you're not paying my bills, motherfucker. I gotta go to work. I'm a nurse. And so, unbeknownst to JC, the chauffeur that's taking Chantel to work is Tiny, and he's wearing his whole, like, what do you call it?
The limo driver get up, Steve. He's a driver, man. This motherfucker is a spy too, because he just got in there. Danny Cort's personal consigliere. I don't even know if he's his driver or what. He's like his A1, but now they got his wife. I mean, these people are being way too reckless. They don't like. If I'm JC, I'm like, he literally came into our apartment as a delivery man and blew my wife or fiance away, guys. This guy is dangerous. But I do also like, it's not even that she, is going to work. She's going to like a job interview that was set up by Danny Cort. This guy,
that's what it was.
He's getting them all. There's no way you can escape from this fucking guy.
I'm the chess master. And Nina's mom, back to her story. Nina's mom, she gets the drop on her daughter. She finds out the information, and so that she could see her. And they have a bonding moment. It's actually kind of sad because she gets to see the girl, and she kind of looks like a kid version of Nina. She's got the same kind of ponytail pull back and cute little Latina girl. And she has this. It's a very brief bonding moment. They hold hands from opposite sides of the fence, and then her adopted mom, she says, whatever her adopted name was, is it Lauren or something? Hey, Lauren, come back inside. So like they separate, and it tears her apart because that's her actual birth daughter. And she brought her a gift, and she just like slides it through the little fence. And like, I don't know, she must have staked out the place to know whether or not that box could fit through. She got the right kind of gift, I guess.
I didn't even think of that, but it is like good. It's like a very heartfelt moment. They even share like a look as the girl is going in the doorway, like a slow-mo, like, but I don't know if this is Nina giving up, like just being like, well, she's in a good place. So, but she does leave the gift. She has that moment. And it's like that's the B story. But I gotta say, I was kind of getting emotional watching it. I was like, oh, damn. Because it is very cute. They picked a girl who kind of looked like her, honestly. They did some good casting there.
They did, man. And Eddie was there as support, man. I love their relationship as it blossoms. But JC, he's out on a mission, man. Danny Cort is on him, so he's got to play the offensive. It's like, dude, I got to take care of this now. So he leaves G with his girlfriend Simone, who he thinks is really his ride or die, but he'll find out later. And Nina, oh yeah, we already talked about that. So now Sergeant, she's actually recommending a suspension. So the pressure is even heavier on JC's shoulders, man. Like, give me, I need your badge and your gun. It's like, well, fuck.
I mean, like, can somebody just at least look into Danny Cort here, guys? Can somebody? We got to figure this out because I'm not murdering. I'm not a cop who's now murdering people. I mean, if I'm getting arrested, Eddie fucking beat my girlfriend's ass. He throws him under the bus.
JC, he finally puts two and two together when they're at the precinct talking, and they find out that Simone's real name is Janelle Maxwell, and she had arrest for burglary and I think armed robbery at some point. And like, now that he knows her real name, he's like, dude, I left my son with her. Fuck. So he goes back to the apartment and he sees his security guy that he had posted up, just hung up on the ceiling, like strapped up. Like, what the
how did that even happen, Steve? The guy's dead, and I get that, but this is like Predator 2 shit where the guy's hanging from like the rafters.
Yeah, it's like some Peter Parker type shit. You just like and just like wrapped him up on the ceiling.
Lift him up on the fulcrum, using a fulcrum method. We got to get him up in the, like, you could have just killed his ass, but they lifted him up on like a ceiling rafter or some shit. It was wild, Steve. But this is Danny. This is Danny Cort.
Evil genius, man. But yeah, the final showdown at the docks. We're at the shipyard, and you know, he has Chantel and he has G, and he tells them, after I shoot your father, I can be your father. Like, the fuck, bro?
I mean, dude, this is a TV show. This dude has a gun to a kid's head for a solid minute and a half, just saying wild shit. We did also gloss over the fact that when JC realizes his kid's now kidnapped, he goes back to that store owner again, whoops the goddamn living shit out of him, fires a gun next to his head to get like the information of where Danny Cort's at in the shipyard, then leaves. And then Simone's beautiful ass shows up later and is like, oh, hey, what's going on here? And the guy's like trying to hide the fact that he was like talking to the cops. And then Simone fucking kills this dude. This bitch is fucking just a gangster, dude.
Yeah, Danny always knew he couldn't trust you. And then she just offs him. And so JC tracks Danny down at the shipyard, and they do like a hostage situation where it's like, dude, you can't shoot me. I got the gun on your kid, and my guy Tiny, he's got the gun on you. So what you want to do? But he's got his backups, man. His boy Torres and Nina, they're on their way, and they hear those sirens, and you know, they chase down Tiny, they off him, and then so now it's just Danny and soon to be Simone, because she pops up later, and you know, they're going back and forth. He knocks the gun out of his hand. They're shuffling for it, and you know, he reads him his rights with Danny on the ground, and he's like, "Man, fuck you, bro. Like, I'm already dead on the inside." That's kind of where his mind's at. Like, dude, I got nothing to lose, man. Suck a dick.
I mean, he doesn't stop talking shit. That's for damn sure. I don't remember the exact words, but it's just basically like, you killed my brother. Fuck you 8 times. And then you don't know, but it seems like JC just straight shoots it's like almost like the end of 7. Like, he forces JC into shooting his ass. You know? Yeah. He completes the circle, Steve. But Danny Cort, we don't know what happens, I guess. I mean, I'm assuming he is dead. I didn't watch the next episode, but you said this is his last episode, so I'm assuming JC is about to have to, sell this in some way.
Yeah, and the fact that Simone, she's still alive. There was a little tussle with her because she tried to knock the gun out of his hand from behind. He turns around and gives her another one-hitter quitter. Like, Ike Turner would have really loved this episode. But yeah, man, she's still alive, and now it's her word against his. Basically saying that at the time when he shot Danny Cort, Danny Cort didn't have a gun on him. So that becomes the argument, and that is on the next episode where they go through that and whether or not JC should keep his job. But Great TV.
Can fucking JC's baby's mama not testify as an eyewitness? Like, this guy was gonna Russian roulette my fucking kid. You know, I mean,
That part.
somebody, how did he not get out of it immediately? But, you know, it's TV, Steve. It's New York Undercover. It's New York.
And it made for great TV, man. Ice-T, you did your thing.
Best villain I've ever seen on a cop show. And I used to love these types of shows, like watching them with my parents every once in a while. But this is like a level of intensity that I wouldn't expect on like a network television show.
Yeah, not on
Gun
Fox.
to a
But
kid's
Fox, hey,
head, Steve. Russian rouletting a kid. I mean, that's pretty wild shit. I love that.
man, Fox, they took gambles, man, and they won big with this show. But in 1996, November to Remember, 96 is airing through ECW. And this wasn't a pay-per-view, but it was good, man. It was one of those super cards, they call them. And, you know, every match on here was pretty solid. Stevie Richards faced Jericho in the opening match. That went almost 10 minutes. At one point, Bubba Ray Dudley faced Devon. And I think, yeah, this was supposed to be the curtain call for Too Cold Scorpio because he's heading off to WWF. And there was a thing in ECW when the fans found out you were leaving for the big leagues, they were going to boo you. You're automatically a bad guy. So Too Cold Scorpio, he gets in there and he's talking shit. He's like, yeah, I'm about to make that big check. Oh, you guys are pricks, stase, blah. Send some. I can beat everybody in that damn locker room. So they send out Devin Storm and he laughs this guy off, beats him in a minute. Then they send out JT Smith, the Black Guido guy, beats that guy in 32 seconds. And then they send out Hack Myers and he beats him in like over a minute. Then they bring out Louis Spicolli, and Louis Spicolli, he gets the pin. And Two Cold Scorpio, we've said this before, talented performer. I just don't think his character was like commercial enough to be a huge success. But like in the ring, he was amazing.
And that one video he did, that shit was fire as fuck. So,
Oh, are we going to drive? Are you going to drive us to school? No. Are you going to ride us on the bike to school? No. We going to step. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Everybody here comes to go Scorpio. And the main event was Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer versus Brian Lee and Shane Douglas. And fuck, Mary Kill, that shit, as you would imagine, was gory as fuck, man. R.I.P. to the legend. That match was actually almost a half hour long. And Shane Douglas, man, I know you don't recall him much from his WWF days, but he is a prime example of like not being used to his fullest when he's with Vince, but like ECW finding the best and bringing out the best out of, because Shane Douglas, man, he was a great villain. He was great on the mic. He could put on great matches. And you might like this fun fact. He's from your neck of the woods of Pennsylvania, man.
Shane. I mean, you definitely get the best version of him in ECW, like you said. The stuff that we've seen, he is entertaining. He's a good heel for sure.
Yeah, and I think ECW was putting out the better product around it, or at least better than WWF. I will say that. But in 1997, the Jamie Foxx show is airing season 2's Traffic School Days. Jamie and Braxton go to traffic school, and hilarity ensues. This is an episode of cameos, man. And I swear, I remember a lot of Jamie Foxx episodes, but this one will forever live rent free in my head because it features another 90s great, Mark Curry.
Killing it. Absolutely. This is some of them fun. Like, this is like Three Stooges level physical comedy at a certain point.
And so great that the characters themselves are breaking a couple of times throughout this episode. They're turning their head, like you could just tell. And Jamie Foxx has witnessed a lot of funny shit from being in living color to do just being a comedian. And just like for him to break character, man, like you're doing something good.
Yeah, he definitely is facing away from the camera a lot of Mark Curry scenes, just laughing his ass off. But you recommended this, and I gotta say, I respect it. It's a fucking hilarious episode. This show's great anyway, but to add Mark Curry and acting like this, it's crazy.
Only two types of people come from Texas, boy: big sisters and little sisters. What type of you?
Yeah, and he's getting speeding tickets, Steve. He's getting Braxton caught up. He's getting seatbelt violations. And they're coming in hot. Jamie's as always blasé. And I gotta say, Jamie Foxx coming in the first scene in this to a huge pop.
As he should. Yeah.
Rightfully so, you're right.
We're in season 2 now, man, and he's kind of established himself as a G. And a side story for this: Fancy, she has this interview with Le Chateau de Noir, a prestigious fashion design program, and she needs Uncle Junior and Aunt Helen to like basically pretend they're her parents and act like they have this posh background, they're prestigious, and they have wealth. And, I guess that's the personification of Le Chateau de Noir.
They have to think we come from money. Oh, and not only do you have to say that, but you also have to say that you own a chain of hotels in France. Just lying their ass off, which whatever you got to do, I guess. But turns out Jamie getting this speeding ticket, this ain't the first time. And now it's fucking up the company insurance. And Uncle Junior's like, we can't have this, man. You're bringing up the premiums. So I think Fancy's the one that's like, can't you just go to traffic school and just have that wiped off your record? And, Jamie's like, yo, shut up. Let me think for a second. What? Shouldn't I go to traffic school?
Shouldn't I go to traffic school and just have this wiped off my record? And and she slaps him. And so like now we're at traffic school, and Jamie, he sees this little hottie. He starts hollering at her, and he gets blocked by her girlfriend, Big and Butch, bulldozing.
Big Butchie. What's up? What was that, baby? What was next Friday? Remember the
Sweet
chick?
D? Was it Sweet D or Baby D?
Yeah.
Baby D.
She knows all the new bootleg snacks. Fat bitch.
Yeah. Little Debbie, man, they got this new one out. It's a bad motherfucker. Glitter coming out. And we introduced the Sergeant Easy, played by Mark Curry, and he's just being that guy from Full Metal Jacket. You will have a new respect for the law.
And he will not suffer fools, Steve. He's waiting to fuck. He has I wish a motherfucker would mentality. Braxton says he says something and he gets immediately jumped on.
But
they're
doing the history.
But
they're doing the history of automobile. Okay,
go for it. I'm sorry.
They're going through the history of automobiles, and they said that like what was the first thing wrong with the steering wheel, with the wheel? He was like, oh, the wheel was a square. Square like L7, square like you, boy, square. Oh, you one of them little sissies, huh? Say it, you little sissy. Say it.
Man, you gonna let him talk to you like that? And Jamie's like not having it. Just literally stops class, walks up to dude, and is like, look, man, I don't know what the password is, but how about this? And he throws a 20 spot at Mark Curry, and that's not the right thing to do, Steve. He didn't even read the sign walking into the class, but Sergeant Easy, this man can't be bought.
Yeah, and he thought the code was fat chicks can't see their feet, and then he winks at him, drops him a 20. He's like, boy, what you winking at me, boy? What you think, I'm sexy, boy? Would you want to kiss me in the mouth, boy? Oh, yeah. I'm going to be your mama. I'm going to be your daddy. I'll be that man dressed in green in the alley.
And so he's like, you know what, man? I'm out. I'm leaving. And Sergeant Easy's like, if you leave, you're not going to pass a class, obviously, but you're going to get charged with bribery. He's like, bribery? What? Bribery? And he still tries to leave, but Braxton's like, yo, dude. Because he's like, you're not going to charge me with bribery. What are you talking about? But they got a huge sign about this very situation. I guess there's one guy who every class tries to do this shit, Steve.
Yeah, no bribery. So like he relents and he's like, all
Always.
right, man, I'm gonna do this bullshit traffic school. He's like, hey, before you do that, give me 50. It's like, dude, you should have just said that. So he thinks he's talking about money. He's like, no, 50 push-ups, fool. And he ends up doing like over 1,000 push-ups. And he gets up and he's got the T-Rex arms only for this scene. And I like that while he's doing the push-ups, he wants him to like say, I will not exceed the speed limit in the Prince voice. And Jamie nails it. It's very identical to Prince. I would speak serious spirit.
Yeah, but he pushes him out. But I mean, goddamn, how does this get you back like into being a good driver, Steve?
Hey, this is like boot camp traffic school. Like, man, I'd never pass my test if it was like this. And back at the hotel, Fancy's talking to Mr. and Mrs. Spalding. And I don't know, does Mr. Spalding look familiar to you?
No, not really.
Well, he's played by David Brisbane, and I remember him from Hey Dude. He was Mr. Ernst, the guy that overlooked the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little wild and a little strange. I didn't place that though. I guess I don't remember what that guy looks like.
To me, he's that guy in the pictures. He had that face, and I'm sure he was in other things that I remember. But come to find out, they're actually looking for someone who's underprivileged financially. So she puts on this whole facade, but Junior and Aunt Helen, they didn't get the memo because they come in there and they have a whole symphony playing in their lobby and they're just dancing. And Garrett Morris is a very talented guy. He actually comes from stage before SNL and he's actually got the chops, man. He's belting out some like Pavarotti type shit.
So does Aunt
you know,
Helen. She's fucking killing it too.
both of them, man. So after all of these shenanigans, Fancy no longer qualifies.
I like how she's doing all the selling on her being rich, and they're like, "We're looking for somebody who is financially challenged." She's like, "Financially challenged? Shit,
Shit, I don't know where my daddy
I'm
is.
broke as shit."
Yeah, shit. I only got two outfits. I gotta wash this one I got on. But back at the traffic school, he's fucking up Brax's name, which is hilarious. He's calling him Hartneberg. It's actually Hartneberg. I don't give a cat's butt what your name is, boy. I'll change it to whatever I want. I'm gonna break you, boy. That's what he says to Jamie. He just hops in, I'm gonna break you, boy. And once again, everybody is just having the hardest time trying to save face, man, because like we've talked about this in one of the few times we talked about the Mr. Cooper show. Mark Curry is a great physical comedian. And it's kind of like the Chris Farley deal where like you're a big person and he's not wide like Chris was, but he's a tall guy. So you're taking up all this space and you're physically active. I think it automatically makes people just like it catches their attention, and he's great at it, man.
Well, even when he's like, because he'll like rush around to yell at somebody, and he'll like slip and shit, and he turns like accidents into hilarious shit. He makes it work no matter what. And that when he does slip that one time, that's Jamie Foxx literally has to turn away like completely and just hide himself because he's laughing so fucking hard. It's hilarious.
Oh, it like he straps up Jamie to this like taser.
Clockwork Orange shit. He's like, you gonna be a defensive driver, gonna die trying to be a defensive driver, motherfucker. Because this thing shocks your cranium every time you make a mistake, Steve.
And it'll help you concentrate. You didn't put on your seatbelt, so he zaps him. He zaps the fuck out of him. And then fast forward to the next scene, he's smoking, and James is like, "You smell chicken?"
He's constantly jittering and shit. He's still got the jolts. Yeah. And I like that after this they cut like I guess it's post them taking like the test that they had to take, and Braxton's like, "So Jamie, how do you think you did on the test?" And Jamie's like, I don't know, man. I don't think I did too good.
He doesn't even remember it.
Smoking like he's burnt toast, Steve. He's just jolted. This is some criminal shit that Sergeant Easy's got, but starts giving away the tests. And he's flaming everybody he's giving a test to, which I love. He's just destroying all of them.
No more hitting wheelies on your Harley. No more driving naked. And you go on, boy. I don't even want to know what that guy did. And he talks to the old guy. He's like, remember, the speed limit is on the freeway is 55, not 25. By the way, I loved you and Gandhi. Get the hell out of here. And fart in the brig it's hurting the brig.
You got a 77. You lucky you passed. 77?
This is an outrage. You want to know what an outrage is, boy? Your breath. You need to chew on some mint leaves. You need to gargle some chlorine, boy. And he was like, and I love Braxton. He's like, I will not take any more of your stupidity.
He just screams.
He does that from time to time, and it's always hilarious, man.
Oh, man.
Jamie got a 100.
Steve, what did he get?
He aced that bitch, a 100, man. He's like, it's hard for him to say he's proud of him.
I mean, Jamie breaks down into tears, Steve. I mean, this is the first 100 he got since his SATs, so he's emotional.
Yeah, man. And Braxton, he's still pissed that he got a 77. So like after that clears out, Fancy tells Jamie she didn't get accepted, blase, but I was just like, all right, you still fine as fuck. You want to go to Flood Puckers? I got a clean driving record and $30 to my name. Make it a double Flood Pucker if you want to, because you that damn fine. And Fancy says, well, who watches this hotel when we're not around? Nobody needs to. It's a TV show. Fourth wall.
I mean, fantastic episode. The show is a fucking killer because it does have like killer, like old school people like Garrett Morris in it, who is bit. I love that he's playing the same basic thing that he was Stan from Martin. He's just like a sort of underhanded business owner. I love that shit.
Like a shyster. And then the various cameos on this, like on this one, they had Mark Curry, but like there was an episode where Ice Cube and West Side Connection were on there. There's one where Isley brothers are on there. There's another one with Gary Payton. Like, yeah.
Did they come in and do that shit? Did the Isleys sing or?
Well, Ronald Isley, he plays in the same episode, Tashina Arnold, he plays her dad. So
damn,
yeah. But you talked about Goosebumps earlier. In 1998, the final episode airs on Fox, man.
And it was a good show. I mean, that show, I respect shows like that. And it was like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Where every week it was just a new story. It was like serialized. And that's kind of the thing that I don't like about the new Goosebumps I talked about, where it's like a continuing story every week. And they're just like, it's cool, but I don't know. I'm a fan of like the books and them just being separate stories and stuff. And I watched the Fox show. I watched Goosebumps, but I don't think I tuned in. Like, I wasn't like a huge fan of it. You know what I mean?
Like from doing this show, I've watched a couple episodes, and I will say that theme song is a banger.
Yeah.
Like that shit is low key a rap beat. Like you could probably do a 16 on that bitch. That shit got some bang to it.
I think I was just like sort of biased, and I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I was like, it's not that. So I got a little salty, but they killed it, man. And also just the book franchise. How much you loved it? I mean, we all loved it. It was like that guy, R.L. Stein, really tapped into that shit as for us kids. I love that stuff.
Yeah, man. But in one of these days we'll talk about that show. But in 1999, Dr. Dre releases 2001, and god damn it, that was the return of that sound that we fell in love with in the early 90s, that G-Funk, but it's more modernized now that it's the late 90s, and he's back with the crew. The gang is all here. We got Snoop again, we got Corrupt in the mix, got some Daz Dillinger, got some Nate Dogg, the same guys that helped cook that G-Funk recipe Like, yeah, and it was a good feeling for those who didn't live to experience it. There was a little lull for all the aforementioned. You know, those guys crushed it in the early 90s with the Chronic and with Doggy Style. And then because of some inner turmoil with Suge Knight and Pac getting involved, Pac dies, and Death Row kind of like fell on a death note, man. And after that, it's like Snoop joined No Limit, and Dr. Dre, he did some aftermath shit. So like, even though they were cool, they weren't collaborating. You didn't hear them on tracks like you were on Nothing But a G Thing and Dre Day. And so, like, when we saw this, it was like all is right with the world. They're back together. The band is back. Nate Dogg singing those jingles, Corrupt dropping those fire 16s, and Snoop being Snoop. And there's this guy named Marshall Mathers added to the mix. That didn't hurt. That didn't hurt.
Yeah, dude. And it had just some of even the ones that were like chart hits were fire, but like I don't know if Explosive was released, like if that was one of the singles, but dude, to this day, you throw Explosive on and it's one of the greatest songs, just period to me, one of my favorite rap songs.
That's just the bomb explosive. West Coast shit, ninja. I loved it, man. I might say this is better. I like this one better, man. I don't know. The Chronic was the shit, but man, this one has la da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DNA. It's not the Dre motherfucker. Yeah,
That
yeah,
video
yeah,
was
yeah.
so sick too. That whole man, you're and also I think this one has like a really like close place in our hearts because this was one of those CDs that we blasted when we were in college, like in groups, just smoking and
Yeah.
stuff. Again, like Explosive being one of those songs, but this whole album was just like
It's
more part of our lives. I mean, The Chronic is a classic, and I don't know which is better, honestly. They're both too good to really even compare, but
too
dude.
good, man.
All my real smokers know they never love no hoes indeed.
Chronic leaves.
Trees, chronic leaves, no seeds.
Smoke weed every day.
Oh yeah.
Doo-doo-doo. Oh man, yeah. And I think the fact that we were in college that makes it hit closer to home. But also in '99, Raekwon releases his sophomore album, Immobilarity. And man, one of my favorite of the Wu-Tang. This just didn't hit the same as his debut because in the rap game, man, it's hard to follow up a fire debut. And his debut was only built for Cuban Links, which is considered a hip hop standard of the 90s. And it just the recipe wasn't the same. And whenever the Wu guys, I've said this before, man, whenever they deviate from working with RZA, it's just like, damn, it doesn't have that same feel. And Immobilarity, it's still solid to me because Raekwon is a great rapper. It's not like his bars were subpar. It's just the whole chemistry wasn't there, man. He's still dropping 16s, but the beats they weren't jumping at you like they were in Only Built for Cuban Links. There was no collaboration with Ghostface. You don't hear Capadonna. There was a Method Man guest verse on here, but man, it just wasn't the same, man. And like all of those guys, their initial album is RZA produced, and it's a classic. They break off, man. It just for me, a Wu purist, it just I don't know.
Well, I think that is interesting though. Like when they tried to go offshoots, I think a lot of them did stuff. I mean, Method Man not being one of those people. I think he's one of the few that just like skyrocketed himself no matter what. But even like a Ghostface, I feel like some of his albums, like they weren't. It just wasn't the same. Like they didn't have as much success as when they were in that group together.
Yeah, man. And still love Raekwon though. And also in '99, Korn releases their album, Issues. And this is the one that had the fan contest where they picked the best covers, and I think they selected up to four. But I had the common one, the one that a lot of us got with the ragdoll on the cover.
Yep, that's the one I had too. That was like the one everybody could get easily, but I do remember them like doing that contest. That was cool. This album was like right after, to me, their best album, Follow the Leader. So everybody was into it. I was fully into it. I was fully excited about it. Falling Away when it released. Like I think that was the first single of it, and I was pumped. I love that fucking song. I listened to it today while I was working out. Banger. It just, it's like you said, you really, it's even kind of like what you said about Raekwon. Even to, I know it wasn't their first album, but it's like when you come off Follow the Leader, I don't think this isn't widely accepted as good as that album, but it's still a good album, you know?
Off that track alone, beating me down, beating that shit will never not go hard, man. But Corrupt drops his album, The Streets is a Mother, and I was listening to that earlier. Like Corrupt is not a commercial rapper, but you know, if you know, you know. He's one of those guys. And that's why Eminem gave him a shout out. It goes Reggie, Jay-Z, Tupac, and Biggie, Andre from Outkast, Jada, Corrupt, Nas, and then me. And his bars are parallel to none, man. Always known as a bar spitter, always with that West Coast cut. And The Streets is a Mother, you know, of course he's got his homies on there, man. He's got, you know, Nate Dogg collabs. He's got guys from that whole Dog Pound clique, man. Daz Dillinger. But yeah, I think any Corrupt fan will love this, man. And also, let's talk about Will Smith, who dropped Millennium in '99. Like, I listened to that and it's like, I got to give props to the man for staying in his own lane and still being able to find his spot in a world of down south takeover, Cash Money, No Limit, and schizophrenic white guy, and new metal, and who else? Dre is back. And all of that, man, like the guy stayed clean with his lyrics and people were buying this shit. I wasn't, because I was listening to those other people that I mentioned. But like, I gotta give props for a guy.
Like Miami, Steve.
Party
in the city where the heat is on all night in the beach to the break of dawn. I mean,
I did.
It's like the clean comedy of rap, Steve. You know, you got the guys that curse, and then you got the Brian Regans of this world. You know, the ones that just make you enjoy, love life.
As a teenager, I couldn't appreciate it. That song does go hard. All of Big Willie Style is actually a good album, but I didn't like it enough at the time to buy the album. Like I wanted rap. I wanted
my
cuss.
thing is like he lived, at least musically, he lived off of like, he got hot again from doing like the Men in Black song, you know, like movie tie-in songs, right? And then
Wild Wild West.
That too. And I think that was before this, or at least like pretty close to this. And then he released this like off the heat of that. And there's a couple of bangers in it, but that Miami song, that's the one I remember off the top of my head. I did embarrassingly buy this because I was known to just buy shit and just, you know, whatever was hot, I'd buy for whatever reason. So this was in my CD collection when we would drive around and smoke, Steve.
But this one isn't. Miami wasn't on this one. Miami was on Big Willie Style. Millennium.
Oh,
yeah.
What's on Millennium then? And I don't like that title. I was gonna say that.
Millennium.
Like
that one has Will 2K, Freaking It, and Wild Wild West. That song's actually on here.
That's when I had checked out. I did not. Then I thought this was Big Willie Style, Steve. So, bye. Yeah, the Wild Wild West song. I was fully checked out. I didn't even watch that movie immediately. So, I was Will Smith out at that point.
Yeah, I just kind of refuse to until we meet that timeline on this show. Maybe. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways, good sir?
I think we should. I mean, just really quickly, I think we should like together watch Wild Wild West just to like ingest that together, because I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but I think that would be kind of funny. I don't really have a call out today other than just like to be honest with you, I really encourage people to check out that the Goosebumps show, because there's been some like pleasant surprises on TV that I've been talking about that have 90s tie-ins. And I'll say it again too, the Frasier reboot. They're actually making some stuff now. I don't know what's going on, if there maybe is a turn in some of these reboots and like bringing some of this stuff back where they're doing some quality control, but I've been pleasantly surprised, man. Both those shows are, you know, sort of have a close place in my heart for whatever reason, and they're not bad, and they're actually quite good. So that's my call out.
and Goosebumps is actually available on Hulu too, which I do have. So
And you know, I kind of brought it up as a negative, but the way that they're building on and like um the show and like incorporating like things that you remember from Goosebumps, like the puppet and stuff. It's pretty fucking cool, man. And it's like I said, it's darker in tone, and it does involve like a child, a bunch of kids killing a kid, and like that's sort of the reason all this shit's happening. So yeah, a lot of crazy shit in there, and there's you get a nice if you like Justin Long, you get him, but there's a lot of like really good, like not corny performances and something that could definitely be corny. So check it out for sure.
and the only call outs I have are SNL related. In 1991, the musical guest is Mariah Carey with the host Linda Hamilton. A pretty solid episode. That's the one that had Massive Head Wound Harry, which is an instant classic. That's one of those skits that was only ran once. It wasn't a recurring skit. It just was so impactful that people remember that one time Dana Carvey did that character. And people still talk about it to this day, man. And then in 1996, the guest host was Robert Downey Jr. with musical guest Fiona Apple. That Fiona Apple was fine. She was a cutie back in the day. But like my favorite skit in that episode was this street gang where like Norm Macdonald was supposed to be the leader of the street gang, and all the guys start breaking out into song. It's a musical, like on some like West Side Story shit. And Norm just keeps saying, "Hey, like our methods got to be better." Like, what was that? Like, did you guys just know the lyrics already? Like, what the? And so like they meet the rival gang, and they're just like, kss, 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 "We're the snakes." Kss, kss. He's like, what? Hold up, what? And I mean, I'm not doing it justice because he's doing it in that normal way. Hey, guys, what? Hey, guys, what the hell? We're supposed to beat these guys up. But anyways, I digress, man. Great episode, great skit. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister that I'm still local enough to choke you to death with a Charleston chew. Please check out Food Show Fanatics and Crushgasm every Wednesday. This is Steve G and Maggie with Happen in the 90s.